Alrighty, so you guys, we're just got to get started, and obviously more people are going to be coming in as we begin, but just to be aware of everybody's time, welcome to our second Meet the Mover webinar with Mario Reyes. We have some awesome expertise today, and we're going to be just going through some helpful industry tips that a lot of people aren't entirely aware of, and around here we want to make sure we are educating as many as possible. So when we start, we want to think about Mario's journey. I think in the beginning, we first heard about how he started at 12 years old, started multiple first companies, and he's really been able to navigate the moving industry and seen where it's been for almost 40 years now. How is the moving industry different from how you started from when it's began?
Well, thanks, Justin. To be honest with you, I actually think that the moving business has actually taken, like, physically to do the jobs, it's actually taken longer than it used to. We used to come in, this is in the old days, no floor protection, no nothing, and no one expected that. And it was just a different time period. I remember doing a job one time when I was real young, 14, and the owner of the house said, you can drive the semi on the yard because the grass is already dead, just to get closer so we can finish faster. Those days will never happen again. So in some ways, it's actually, even though we have some technology, it's still boots on the ground, and that's who we're talking about and talking to, and just talking to the end users, both the actual workers and our customers. This is mainly for the end users. So yeah, no, and it's taken longer in some instances, but that's how it's changed. At the end of the day, that at the end of the day, it's still people. We're moving people and we're moving families. So that hasn't changed, not one bit. And we're moving lives. But I would say that would be about it.
You could say that lives have become more complicated. People accumulate more stuff over time, and prices have changed. And as I'm sure when you're navigating that in the environment, South Bay, how there's some key takeaways that you know in terms of, okay, this works in this current climate. What's been something that's been a real staple for you in terms of pushing South Bay and moving past the ups and downs of the moving industry?
Well, any business is hard. I wouldn't say it's just a moving business. I'm going to say any business is hard. And I think that every generation or every milestone, there's always ups and downs with every business. I don't feel like I'm any different from any other business owner but I think that we all face the challenges as we go along, meaning that the challenges of the past, they were challenging to those pioneers at that point. Our challenges are different, but they're still challenges. So I think that no matter what you do, no matter how big you get, no matter what you do, you're going to be challenged, and you just have to be prepared for it.
In terms of that preparation, is there something that is there any kind of things that you do in terms of, or any things that you've changed from when you were younger to what you do now?
No, to be honest with you, I mean, besides like a few things with technology, I still care about our customers, and I still care about our employees and all our service providers. That will never change. So I don't think there's anything that I've done differently except always try to evolve and grow and and I'm consider myself a lifetime learner. So I never shut the door to learning.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now we're going to move into the next portion in terms of things that are going to help military families, a few topics in terms of PCS versus PPM moves. Along those lines of decluttering, donating, discarding, what are some tips that people can walk away with that they may not be necessarily aware of that they have access to?
Well, I think that, like, what I've noticed, the only thing, like, so I may contradict myself, the things that have changed, I've seen more of our transferees get closer to their weight limit. So something that you may want to consider is to, like, in the old days, we move things, and then our clients would say, I'll throw that away on the other end because I haven't had time to go with it. So you may want to start to do that on this end. There's Facebook Marketplace that could help you out. But I think the main thing, if you're doing donations, one, just check with your military community because one man's treasures is another man's junk, and vice versa. And if you may have a seasoned piece of furniture that you'd like to that you may not need anymore. It may work well in someone's playroom or something like that. An older entertainment center it may fit perfect, but right in the community. And then just to be aware, if you donate furniture, a lot of at least in California, a lot of the charities don't want to come into your house anymore. They want it in the garage or outside because they don't want to come in the house anymore. I would check around the country to where, like what they're asking for, but the reason is they would come in to get a washer and dryer and they scratch a floor and have to pay for it. Now, I will say this at South Bay, will our guys will bring it down and do whatever our customers say. But I could speak for the majority of movers out there. If you ask them, they'll at least take it down to the garage for you. I can't speak for them and guarantee that, but 98% of the guys, 99 are just wonderful people and they'll do anything they can for their customers.
And is there a different approach you want somebody should take versus a PCS versus a PPM move in terms
As
of in terms of decluttering, in terms of what they might have access to?
No, I don't. I think it'd be about the same. It doesn't matter if it's a PPM or a PCS move. I think it's just going to be weight allowance and whatever they need to do to get to their weight allowance, especially if they've added things from their previous move.
Awesome, awesome. And in terms of timing, what are the best months and the worst months, and what are kind of the differences and why somebody should target X versus Y?
Well, on a PCS move, you don't have as much flexibility because you have to move when your unit or whatever your orders stay. So you're not at the mercy, but you have to go along with whatever the carrier gives you the dates. And you can, of course, change dates or ask for a date change. And sometimes it's accommodated and not. With the PPM moves, you've got a little bit more flexibility. And I always tell people, I'm like, hey, if you're at a place where there's a graduation school, stay away from graduation week, either before or after. Stay away from the end of the month. But like if you need to be accommodated during that time, then you just have to be accommodated during that time. So just be aware of, the busy season. It's just like, hey, do you want to go to the mall? The old style before COVID, the week before, like 2 days before Christmas, it's going to be harder at the mall than it would be 2 weeks before. So we're pretty much the same. And that's not to say the service won't be good. It's just a little bit more hectic. And if you want to save yourself some stress, that might be something you might consider if you can, if you have the flexibility to.
No, that's awesome to say. And I love what you said about service. That actually segues us to our next topic in terms of who is coming to your home to serve you. I think everybody's wondering, okay, the move's been picked out, the movers have been picked out. You're welcoming strangers into your home. How do you identify uh just plain brass tacks a good professional mover?
Well, no, so it's only in a PPM move that would take precedence because you have a choice on a PPM move. On a PCS move, you're assigned the mover that they assign to you. So let me have a little bit of clarity there. And on a PPM move, how you can look for a mover is just by talking to your neighbors. If you went by someone's house, one of your friends were moving, I think is the best, and you saw the mover and you like the service, inquire about it, get a number, and go with their company first. Or you had a previous move and you like the driver and call this company ahead of time, and maybe perhaps you can get that same driver. Um, the new style is if it's someone in the area, go visit their place. A lot can tell how they're welcoming you in. If you ask them, hey, can we come and do a site visit? Come on down, and if it's a local guy, if it's someone on the internet, be careful because all that glitters is not gold, and you have to do a little bit more due diligence. The internet is great, it's good, and it's got its share of bad too. So you have to be aware of it. So again, if you have someone that's moved before and they said, "Hey, I use," go with a referral. I think that's the best way to go. If you have to generally shop, I don't, we can talk about that a little bit later in the programming because it's a longer process. But I would definitely look at the reviews. I think that would be if you have to just go on the internet only. I would definitely look at the reviews and ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask questions to the management or the sales professionals.
In terms of how the home is being protected, how does a family identify that their home is being protected the correct way?
Well, it depends on the base. So I can just speak for our TMO, which is Monterey, and we service the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California. They are requiring us to put rug runners down, which you can see in what some of the illustrations on the page. And they're asking for at least one door jamb cover. So the door jamb covers protect, of course, the door jambs at the front door. I do believe that you should try to cover the front door because it eliminates scratches. If you look on a lot of doors, you'll see scratches, and that's from the movers coming in. And then the rug runners aren't cloth like in the old days. They're made out of neoprene, which is the same material as a wetsuit. And then, but it protects hardwood floor and carpet. And then, if you're in a situation where you have a carpeted stairway, the movers really aren't required to do this, but you may want to either ask them or get your own carpet mask. And what that is, that can be purchased at Home Depot, Lowe's, or a lot of paint stores. What that is, it's just like a shrink wrap. It's got a sticky surface on one side that adheres to the carpet, and it form fits the stairs so that you'll have protection going up and down the stairs. But again, that's not required in a government move, but you should ask your service provider prior, "Hey, these are my concerns." Perhaps they can get them. And if they don't, I would have them and just have it for the movers. And I'm going to again speak for some of the movers. Most of the movers out there will accommodate them and lay it down for them.
Awesome. Thank you, Mario. And that actually concludes our Meet the Movers address, you guys. Thank you for so much for just the awesome information that you've provided so far. We're going to open it up to an open forum. Also want to introduce our 30-year vet and operational genius, Ernie Pena, who is the co-founder of 300X Academy and Training, who's going to be here with us today. And they're going to be just having an open discussion, obviously. We have a couple other expert movers who are also on the line, so we invite you guys, to share your piece. But now at this portion, we are opening it up to questions now. Um, the floor is everybody else's right now. I can't actually see if anybody's raising their hand. So,
Okay, well, I'll just start off. I'd like to really, I want to introduce a friend and a colleague, Ernie Pena. He's a co-founder of the 300X Academy and Training, and just wanted to say that some of the things that South Bay is doing, and I think the industry needs, is more training for the rank and file. Um, Training, believe it or not, there was training in the moving industry was big in the 70s and 80s, and then it kind of fell to the wayside. It was actually viewed as a revered trade. Then, as time went on, the training fell to the side. We want to bring that back and the professionalism back to the moving and storage industry. Ernie, can you speak on some of the things that the academy is doing to do that and some of your experiences?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me and thank you for the introduction. Yeah, it's a very like Mario said, it's an amazing thing how in the 70s and 80s, I was part of the training, I guess, with the early 90s, when they still had it, Allied and some of these companies, had their schools, their top 20 schools, their master mover schools, and they were mainly just training, focused on training, the van operators and, giving them awards and training them. But there was some companies at the time that were reaching down and trying to provide packing training and wrapping training. And it just something that companies stopped. I think in the late '90s, early 2000s, they just stopped putting it in their budget. I think they were just so top heavy, and they stopped putting it in their budget. And movers were movers, and you know, that was back when they were still making 120, $150 a day. But when it comes to training, I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking it's just simply wrapping furniture or packing some boxes. I think one of the things that the industry has lost is the movers etiquette. You know, how to knock on a door, you know, how to greet the customer, how to make the pre, you know, I teach these guys how to make the pre-phone call, introduce the guys. Hey, there's four of us. There's Mike, there's Fred, there's Frank, there's Jose. We'll be arriving at this time. And you give the customer an expectation and a layout of the entire day, and you just let them know, hey, we're going to take a break, a 15-minute break at 10. You know, we're going to eat lunch for 30 minutes. Our plan is to be out of here by 4:30, 5 o'clock. And you give them an expectation as being part of the of customer service. When we get there, we're going to lay our floor protection. And so these are things that we train on, to give, you know, movers a standard to work towards, to give the companies that they're representing an opportunity for, you know, five-star business, and return and through referral business. Because what you try to do is, when anybody thinks of moving, you don't want them to think of anybody but South Bay. It's moving South Bay. So whatever company they're representing, you know, if you give them if you're just there to provide some guys to load some stuff, okay, you're the movers were here. But if you give them an experience, you give them no reason to go look anywhere else. And that's what we're trying to teach these guys, both, you know, that are company employees and those that are independent contractors, how to get return business, especially with today, the internet being available, where everything is public, Google reviews, all these reviews. And, you know, it does have an impact. Facebook has an impact. So there's a great, in technology itself, you know, provides so many, it can be beneficial or it can hurt you. And so we focus on, you know, a lot of movers etiquette, and there is a large portion where we do skills training,
Ernie,
but
I got
we're
Ernie.
not simply.
Ernie, I've got a question, and I thought that was an excellent point. Is what I want you to go over is I got a couple of things, because I want you to halt that. I want you to, I think this is interesting for the listeners. Um, I want you to go over what comes to your mind when you hear this word mindset, and how do you teach that?
Well, mindset, it's a page of Hughes pick. It's the way you get up in the morning, right? It's some people get ready for work when they show up to the warehouse. Some people get ready for work when they show up to the customer's house. And yet they've been already at the truck for hours. And some people wake up in the morning, they get out of bed, they put their uniform on, they tuck their shirt in, and before they even walk out the door, they're already in the mindset of what they're going to go conquer that day.
And,
So mindset is huge, because customer service is all about mindset,
and what would you
right?
say to what would you say to some of the younger movers out there, um, about professionalism? Let's say, let's that's our next word. What would you say to some of the younger movers? And this is for actual transferees, about what we do and what we think about professionalism as far as moving goes.
So what I would say about the younger generation is the fact that it's going to be a difference of, they're going to be making their daily rate for the next 5 years. They're going to be making their hourly rate for the next 5 years. Or in professionalism, their mindset can take them to a place to where they become an owner operator, or they own a couple of trucks within the company they're contracted to. And it makes it different, because it's a total impact on themselves and on their family. So as the company, as they set in the mindset and the professionalism that the minute they hit the curb of the house, there's something different about this crew leader. There's something different about this team, other rather than, you know, just a mover that's coming into the house in basketball shorts. You're protecting your future, right? You're protecting your future, because again, when they think of moving, you only want them to think about you.
Oh,
Right? And
so
then how is it a bonus? It's a bonus, Mario, because not only do you want them to think about South Bay, but my name's Ernie Pena. When they move, I'm going to call South Bay, but I'm going to request Ernie Pena. So it's guaranteed that I'm going to continue to make money, right? Because I'm so you there's a personal sense of pride that you take that leads you to professionalism. When you call South Bay, you ask for Ernie. That guarantees me work.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that, and that's a good point. I I think that sometimes that like some of the customers have I mean, some of our clients have they actually have a valid point with some of the things that have gone on with the industry. Some of it has been our fault, and some of it has been regulations. So we're trying to work on things with the moving business to help and do our part because we have no control over some of the regulations that are going on. Um, I wanted to also say that what I also wanted to talk about was I wanted to talk about the GHC. Well, no, no, no. You know what? I tell you what. Let's take a step back. Can you define and tell some of the viewers what an owner operator is instead of a company crew? Because again, this is definitely for the military members and why that makes a difference and why they see a difference in the level of service so they can at least identify it in their mind. Start off with an owner operator and then start with sometimes a company crew and why that would be different.
So an owner operator would define as an individual that would have his own business. He would in some way, shape, or form uh, be he would have his own truck. He would either be leasing it or paying on it or owning it, and then he would hire South Bay as his sales team, and his he would partner with South Bay as his sales team and his accounting team, and to provide him the business. So he would be flying South Bay colors, but he's technically an independent contractor. And the reason that benefits him is because he has an incentive as his own uh, the owner of the truck and sometimes the trader. His performance level is not based upon the time. Like he's not trying to get hours, but he's actually out there earning a commission based contract and making decisions. And again, going back to referral business, hey Mario, we want driver so and so the next time, and anytime we move with you, we want this driver. So
So,
that for him as a contractor would benefit him.
so essentially, so a contractor and an owner operator is self-employed and he's
Right.
running his business inside of a business. So he has a
Exactly.
stake and he's responsible for damage, controlling the guys helping him and the quality of the job.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then
all
so
damages, all repercussions, positive or negative, would fall on him. So he's very, very incentivized to make sure that he's providing a grade A quality experience. Again, to me there's a difference between movers showing up and and getting a moving experience, right? That is a big difference.
you know what, I think that's great. And then even with the company guys, it's not saying that you can't get a great experience with the company guys. It's just the management of from the company that they're doing the business with. So I don't want anyone out there to think, oh, the company guys aren't going to do any good, and the guys that just own the trucks, they're going to do the phenomenal job, and that's it. A lot has to do with the management style of the company, and then they'll deliver a great move after that. I
I
just want
think Mario, I think the point of being a company guy, a lot of times guys will go companies because they want the benefits, right, that come with being a company. If you're an independent contractor, it's a little tougher to be out there earning benefits. So, you know, but I think a lot of the guys that are companies guys, and there's a lot of great company movers out there that do a good job.
Yeah, no, no. Hey, listen, Tony E, I just wanted to say hello. Thanks for chiming in. Got a new viewer. So thanks, and yeah, hey, thanks for logging in. I wanted to briefly
Oh man, I
talk
didn't think I
about.
was going to be able to make it here, but
Uh,
hopefully I didn't miss too much.
well, listen, I appreciate you coming on, and we're just talking, and we're having a little bit of a forum, and you're welcome to speak. And if you do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me directly, or Or do you just want to kind of sit on the sidelines? And you can always chime in and just raise your hand if you want to come in. Okay.
Okay, I understand. I'll wait for whatever you guys are finished talking about first because I just got in here. So
No, no worries. So we do. So we were about to talk about the GHC a little bit. Now, some of the, so I mean, there's been a whole bunch of podcasts talking about and that's the general household goods contract. A lot of people don't like it. I've never done a test move or anything, but South Bay Moving Systems, will be participating at least for one move. And I'm going to throw my hat in the arena because I feel that we'd like to at least try it and to see for ourselves what's really going on with it. I think that a lot of people are talking about the pricing and things of that nature. I think that if they could work it out, is it a bad thing? We don't know. I talked to guys that have been in the industry a long time, and there used to be another program called the TOPS program. And when they went to the TOPS to the current program, everybody said this very similar, that they didn't care for it. And sometimes change is hard on anyone. But I think that we have to at least embrace it temporarily to see it and to give it an opportunity to succeed or fail. What do you think about the GHC, Ernie, and what have you heard about it?
Well, um, I've heard a lot. I have, from the time that it started to be announced. Um, I think most of what's been publicized from our side has been brought to be negative. And then, of course, those that are managing it, they're putting their positivity on it. I think it's going to be a challenge to the industry, especially to those of us that um, are, drivers, contractors, business owners, just because on the simple fact of a lot of people do not embrace change. So we don't know whether this contract is going to be good to our favor or bad, but the majority of the publication has been that it's not going to be good, and it's caused already a lot of people that have had negative skepticism to already just sell their trucks and get out of the industry because they're afraid that they're just going to go under. And again, I think a lot of the people that are reacting and maybe overreacting are probably the least informed. They're just going by hearsay.
So,
I'm
so
not
what you
saying that.
say, so what you say is you need to educate yourself.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, and I agree with that. I think that a lot of people will not, and they'll go off of. I even consider myself. I mean, like we're all talking heads out here, and so I say, hey, get the documentation, see what it's about, make your own assessment on it before you totally torpedo it. Um, and you know what? To be honest with you, it may or may not work. We don't know until we try it or we see it one way or another. So before I say it's terrible, we're gonna take a bite out of it. And if we don't like it, then maybe we will choose not to do business with it. But for right now, that's what we have to do in this environment and moving forward. And and then what else I wanted to say is I know I started real young in the moving business, and I know you started real young in the moving business. Why do you think there's been a lack of people in the moving business? I mean, I'm going to say after you, I'll say what my ideas are, but why do you think there's a lack of new talent coming into the moving business? Because I read a stat the other day that the average driver's age is like 57. So what do you think about that?
So, that's a loaded question. We could take that from all different kinds of angles, but I can tell you from a trucking perspective is that in my day, drivers were gone, 200 to 250 nights a year. And now the model of UPS and Amazon and FedEx of driving, 250 miles, turning around and coming back. And so drivers, owner operators, their family base does not support them to be gone. And so you only see the older generation that still does that stuff because their families are already, used to it. But this new generation, I mean, they don't want to be gone that long. They want to go and come, and they want to live. They want to so many different things that they can do. And so it's this industry is not for everybody, from the physical aspect of it and from the family sacrifice of being gone, all the time. And my generation, me and my brother, we don't think anything of it because my dad was always gone, so it was normal for us. And but as you see this next generation transitioning, they're finding it very, very difficult to be away from home.
Yeah, you know what? Of course, we didn't bag that kind of money back in our day, Ernie. Neither did you. Is that baseball players are gone a whole bunch, but they're making a whole bunch of money. So, this is the life we chose. But just like the military members or the submarine guys or the guys that are deployed, they're away from their family, and it's not about the money, it's about the love of the industry, and this is what we do. So we are going through the same thing that some of our clients are, which is at the end of the day is the United States military members. Um, what do you think? Where do you think we move forward with the business, Ernie? I mean, like, if you had to like pick some things that off the top of your head, what would you think that we can do to make the military moves, at least because that's our focus, smoother? Do you think it'd be communication? Do you think that
That was
like,
the first thing that came to mind, is that if you teach this next generation how to communicate, and this is one of the hardest things to do to this generation, because if you look at this generation only communicates like this. So they're not used to human interaction all the time. I mean, the yes sirs and no sirs, the yes ma'ams and no ma'ams from our generation, those have gone out the window. It's like, hey, what do you need? Right?
right,
So,
right?
and there's less interaction, there's less uh you know just the respect level for people in itself. And so teaching this generation communication, teaching them, how to pick their chest up, speak, talk, and communicate. And the team members, everybody, create an expectation of what's needed to be. That's one of the hardest things. Guys walk in slides, to work, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, you're not ready to work. It's just one of those things.
I think it goes back to training, communication with our clients. I think that if you're a military member and you have concerns about, like, okay, this means a lot to me on the time of the survey, when if it's a PCS move and the carrier you're gonna move with, out of the gate, you have to list your concerns. So we have to
Right.
have communications. I think that, as our clients, they have to communicate and say, hey, this means a lot to me.
Right. Well, on
This
one of my
needs to
pre
be
on my
created.
on my pre-move calls with my customers, the first thing, one of the first things I ask them out of the gate, is there any specialty items that we need to pay attention to, that we need to be prepared for, that we need to bring extra material for? Is there anything that you're overly concerned about, so we can make sure that we're prepared and we pay special attention to that?
No, no, I agree with you. But I think that's definitely a 300x quality. But I think that industry standard, I think that that's what our clients need to do and be aware of, is like, if those questions are not asked, they need to communicate all their concerns, both email, text message, and verbally, to their transportation provider. And this is what they're like, setting expectations on what they need so that the companies can service them better. And I think that that adds value to what we're talking about today, is that that's what I would do. Like, so, I mean, of course, I want to move everybody out there. I want to move all the military members. But what I would do is I would definitely communicate with the transportation and say, these are my, now, will it happen? No, but I think you minimize the chance of being disappointed if you verbalize your concerns. So for all the viewers out there, all the transferees out there, I would say verbalize your concerns with the company. Make sure that they're being heard and addressed. And I think that you're going to have a smoother move, because we have people that sometimes, and we've been on jobs, and I know you have too, Ernie, and some of the listeners, where the customers say, hey, we want you to take your shoes off in the house. Personally, I wouldn't mind as much, but like, for safety reasons, we can't do that, and we can't ask our crew to do that, but making them aware of that and say, hey, okay, we can wear booties, and we can have what we call a clean, dirty crew. And so that it minimizes the chance of the dust. But if we don't know that going in, we disappoint the clients. And I think that's where some of the bad moves occur. And it's just expectations. Would you agree with that, Ernie? Or
Yeah, I do agree with that, and I think from a mover's perspective, because we're the professionals, I find myself helping the customer to think because they've got so much that they're covering, cutting off electricity, phones, water, transitioning. So as a mover, we're the professionals that do it every day. So sometimes customers don't know what to ask or don't know what to bring forth. So sometimes we got to pull that information out of them because they don't move every day, right? So
right?
we move every day, and but I do think I am in agreement with you that at some point, if the customer is concerned about certain items in their house, they definitely need to make sure that there's a level of communication that makes sure that the company is prepared to meet those needs.
Yeah, and what we're doing South Bay as of July 1st is we're offering a service for all our transferees free of charge to disconnect appliances, cable services. It's like a one-stop shop, and that's going to be with a QR code of any of our moves. So any of the South Bay customers out there, that's to enhance what we do to add value. That's what we do, and so that'll be a concierge service where you could disconnect, reconnect cable, anything, electricity, and kind of all in one shop to your next stop. I want to ask anyone out there, do they have any questions that we can answer at this time? Any of the viewers?
People actually ask to get their cable hooked up in
Ex-
2024.
I mean, you know what? To be honest with you, we've got a service that you can one-stop shop, Tony. Like you can go online, put your address in, put your current provider, they'll deconnect, reconnect on the other side, make it a little bit easier for you. Power, electricity, everything. So it's just a free service we provide, and it's just to add value to some of our clients. So yes,
Okay, I can't believe you guys do that. That's nuts. I imagine that you probably have to have an entire freaking warehouse full of receivers and stuff like that.
no, 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 no. That's not that. It's a third party service we provide. We don't do it ourselves. It's
Oh,
called Move Guru, and they do all the legwork for the clients. They
oh,
do it. Yeah, I mean, you sign up with it, and then they start to take over. So we don't do it as a mover, no, but we offer that as a service.
is it adding more moves because of the value you're giving?
You know what? Anything that you can do adds more moves. Like we've tested on the COD market, and you know we just it's like do we get like, oh yeah, we went with you because of this? No, sometimes yeah, but it's an added value. You know what I mean? Like, hey, as we go further along, there's more and more movers we don't that offer cleaning services. Like they offer, hey, if you need maid service coming in, they don't do it themselves, but they have a connection. We don't do that, but Move Guru does. And so if you need someone to clean your house, hey, I don't have time to find someone, they'll find someone for you. So it's just like a concierge service of like final mile, final things to do. Because, like I said, a lot of our customers are busy. And so if you knew that, hey, you can give it a one-stop shop and someone's offering you a QR code, you don't have to use it, no, but it's something to enhance your move. So any little thing can top you over. If you're a mover yourself, I don't know. If you have a company yourself or you have a large company, small company, and you can add that and it gives you that little bit extra, I think that's good. I think it'll help you out. It may get you one or two more moves a year. It makes a difference, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm in BNI. That gives me a 26 times ROI for my 2 years I spent.
I'm sorry, you said you're in BNI?
Yeah, I think you
What
should
it,
try it.
you know what? I don't know what BNI is. Can you define
Oh,
it?
business
Because I don't know.
networking. International. It's one of the oldest organizations. So it's a referral group. It costs about $1,000 per 2 years. It's 650 if you do it yearly instead of 2 years, and
Mm,
it's really good for my company. There's a different seat. Like there's a handyman, there's a air conditioning guy, there's an accountant, there's an insurance person. My insurance person is through my BNI network. I really like it. It's been helping out my business a lot, and it fills in a lot of gaps when I have dead space for my winter because I have 8 guys I got to feed.
right. No, no, that's, you know what? I love it. Man, I love it. We do a lot of long distance stuff. So I want something on both ends and not just local. But if it's a nationwide network that you can pull with, it's very similar to that. So it's not a bad idea and it adds value to your customers, I'm sure. And it keeps your guys busy, like during the winter, like you're 8 guys. So that like you've added value, and that was my point. So that's excellent. That's a great find.
Not
That's a
a
nice
lot of
nugget
movers want
to.
to join BNI because they're not patient. I look at my ROI over the course of a year because I don't think I'm going to get business from BNI every single month.
Right. Well, I mean, again, like we were talking about, um, it's only that one more move that can get you 10 more, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing, man. I'm excited for you. I'm glad you're into it.
Okay. Well, I would love to unload trailers for my guys. That'd be pretty awesome. We are 99% local here in Las Vegas.
Okay. Oh, you're in the Las Vegas area. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
listen, I
we
tell
can
you
load
what,
up
put
trailers.
put you-
Yeah, we don't do a lot
put
of jobs though. We 8 guys did 524 jobs last year.
nice. That's beautiful. I tell you what, you know what, if you can do, drop your information in the chat and then we'll get back to you and then we can chat offline and there might be some opportunities for us to collaborate. And I'm sure Ernie would be interested in to you as well.
Okay.
I
Well,
see.
I met Mario at a conference over at Louis Massaro's, and we follow each other on
Oh,
Instagram.
oh, nice. Okay. All right. Well, great. Yeah, no, no, no. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I hope that I mean, I think I spoke a few times with that Louis Massaro conference, and I'm glad you reached out and I'm glad you got on. So thank you very much. I see William on. Do you got any additional questions? Thank you for logging on. I think it's William Turner on. Welcome.
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
I can. How are you,
Awesome.
sir?
Good.
Just
Get in
wanted to
there.
thank
Sorry, the
you.
kids are in the background.
No worries at all. Listen, thank you for logging on. I just,
Absolutely.
we covered a few topics. We talked about military moving. We talked about training earlier in the show. But if you had any questions or if you had any comments, feel free to say anything now. But if not, I mean, where are you? Well, let me start off. Where are you from, William?
Yeah, so we're based out of Nashville, Tennessee, and no comments, just soaking it all in to take that BNI thing one step further. We've been in a local BNI chapter ourselves for about a year now, and it's definitely helped our business exponentially as well. It does, I'd say, in regards with you guys, long distance, it's definitely going to be a little more prone to the local guys. It's mainly going to be local referrals, but nonetheless, the ability to build your brand, connect with your community, it's a lot of local professionals that are kind of at the top of their food chain in their categories. So for any of the local guys in the chat, a BNI group is definitely a direction you want to go. But no, I'm just thankful to be in the group, hearing it all in. If there's future events, I definitely want to be in here and just soak it in like a sponge for sure.
No, well, thank you very much. We welcome you in. We thank you tuning in from Nashville at 7:30, almost 7:30 at night Central Time. And great
Absolutely.
city. Spent the Thanksgiving there. Loved it. Loved it
Absolutely.
downtown. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. A lot of growth
For
there. A
sure.
lot of room for good business there.
Yep.
We do, a lot of the show, William, was directed at military moving
Okay.
because that's and so and that's fine. The comments are great because we want the whole community in, and so we were just talking about earlier about things we could do to and even with the military, like there are clients, anything that you can do to enhance the customer's experience. Is there anything that you'd like to share to some of the listeners on what you do to enhance without giving any guarded trade secrets, anything that you do that you'd like to talk about that helps your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think just touching on the personal connection side of things, I didn't hear the name of the gentleman that was talking earlier, but he was talking about basically keeping the client updated. And whether you're dealing with a military client, residential, commercial client, no matter what, I think the big part of the industry is just really making that connection. So we do train our guys up to almost double down on that side. We are physically talented. We do come out with the best equipment. But I think by the end of the move, if your guys don't really know a lot about your client, especially if they're in the presence of them, they're just kind of doing a disservice. So it's all in the handshake. It's all in the communication with the eyes. And I think the gentleman earlier, like I said, hit it right on the head. But it's just the information. You're moving people's personal belongings. They need to know exactly what's going on and when it's going on. So I definitely think just being very communicative and personable definitely adds to that experience for clients.
Man, I love it, William. I think that, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm an older guy. I'm almost 60, and
Yep,
it warms my heart to hear a younger guy. I feel like you're younger, but your energy's there to
for sure.
speak on that and to speak on the quality and to be interested in the moving business because it's becoming a lost art with a lot of people. So thank you for joining and thank you for your comments.
Yeah,
Uh, is there anyone else out there that has a comment or question before we wrap it up and we turn it back over to Justin? Ernie, I just wanted to reach out. Well, I want to thank everyone on the call for tuning in and taking some of their time out. Um, our bottom line, what I'd like to do is definitely like I reach out to some of our past clients and to like and to help them and to educate them and to educate both even some owners and anyone to like, hey, personal experiences in moving, and it's not it doesn't have to be adversarial. We want to offer a high skilled, great product to all our clients out there. And then as far as sharing things, there's a Titan that passed away in our business a while ago, and he owns a company called Alexander's Moving and Storage, and well over $100 million a year company. And he told me, he helped me out a lot when he was alive, when I was a younger guy. And I asked him, I said, why did you help me? And he says, I'd rather help people that are like-minded and they're going to do good business that someone else is not. And that's at the end of the day, that's our goal. That's why I try to do this, is just to tell everybody, like, to train their guys, just like you said, man. I think you put it great, William. I loved what you said. Ernie, thank you very much for bringing what you said. Tony, thanks for participating. And then Justin, you can wrap it up. And thank you very much. And thanks for everyone's time today.
Yeah,
yeah, thank you.
just to reiterate everybody's point, thank you everybody for coming to our second episode of Meet the Mover webinar. Our third is coming up in the next 2 weeks. So I think that is June 26th to the 27th. So we're going to hamper those days down. But the whole point of this is to bring community together, gather information, and really learn and grow with one another. And we absolutely, I think we felt the energy on today's call, on today's meeting. With that, without further ado, I'll leave everybody to it. Oh,
Hold on a second. I got one more thing. Faraz, I want to hear you next time. I'm just telling you. I
this
want to
is
hear from
Farad's the
you.
second time too. He's consistent, so we appreciate
I
you.
want
Was a
I want
pleasure,
to hear
man. Thank you.
We
I want to hear
appreciate you
from you.
coming. We
I
appreciate
want
you coming 2 times.
I want to hear from you. So
Whenever you
again,
need, call me. Call me.
and then I want to tell you that anybody, Tony and William, put your information, Tony did, in the chat, and then what I'll do is I'll have someone reach out to you and I'll give you guys my cell number. And if you have a question, man, I mean, I'm an older head in the business, man, you can reach out to me personally at any time. Okay.
All right, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Would love to learn
For
from
sure.
you. I appreciate you having me here.
All right. Listen, you guys take it easy. Justin, you want to give it, finish wrapping it up, and that's it for today.
All right, have a good rest of your guys' day. Have a happy Friday. Stay busy, stay working hard, and we'll see you next time.
Keep the faith, guys. Thank you very much.
See you guys.
All right.